Dear students, today we are going to talk about chemical bonding. Before we are going to study about chemical bonding, it's better to understand some patterns in periodic table. Here, this is the periodic table of elements. In pink color, there's a metals and blue color non-metals. These metals and non-metals behave some kind of different activities in their chemical bonding. Uh, in between nonmetals and metals, there are metalloids also exist. Electronegativity is another special component we should know in the chemical bonding. It's first developed by the Linus Pauling, and there are new different kind of scales are there for electronegativity, but let's consider this Linus Pauling scale. A measure of how much an atom attracts electrons when it is in a molecule is the meaning of electronegativity. The ability of atom in molecules to attract electrons to itself is the another way of definition of electronegativity. On the periodic table, there's a pattern to change electronegativity. Let's study that patterns in periodic table, how the electronegativity change. This image represents the changing of electronegativity with the periodic patterns. In this periodic table, there's a three-dimensional view. The height represents the value of electronegativity. Here, we are not consider the noble gas column. Therefore, that group we neglect for the counting of electronegativity. Rest part, when you go up to the period with the groups in the periodic table, will increase the electronegativity. And when consider the left hand side to right hand side, the electronegativity will increase. Therefore, the highest electronegativity is observed in fluoride. And in this number of elements, the lowest electronegativity goes to cesium. Therefore, you can understand the electronegativity changes with the periodic patterns. Next, let's study about chemical bonds. There are three types of chemical bonds exist. First one is ionic bond. Here, the electrostatic attraction between ions exist. Let's consider some example. Think about this is a metallic compound. Normally, metallic compound exists loosely bound electrons less numbers, and this kind of non-metallic compound in non-metals, as you know, in most rightmost hand side in the periodic table, that means their valence electrons, number of valence electrons are high. Here in the metal, let's consider there's only one electron in their valence shell. Valence shell means the electrons in the highest principal energy level. Then this electron removed from this metal will effect to become positive charge of this atom. That means it's become an ion. Then this electron can attract towards this non-metal, and this non-metal become negative charge because one more electron attract to this atom. Therefore, now we have two ions, one is positive and other one is negative. Then these two ions can bond together to form a new ionic bond. This is an example of sodium and chloride. This sodium chloride is attract sodium plus and Cl minus. Here, next example is covalent bond. The chemical bonds next type is covalent bond. It is some kind of different than ionic bonds because in this covalent bond they are not existing removing electrons and attract electrons. That means between two atoms they are sharing electrons. For example, in this image you can see there's one electron to each atoms, then both atoms share these two electrons together to form a covalent bond. The simple example of this covalent bond is hydrogen. In this hydrogen, every hydrogen atom contains single electron. Between these single electrons can share between these two hydrogen atoms to form a covalent bond. Next type of chemical bonds are metallic bonds. These are some totally different between ionic and covalent bonds because metallic bonds are formed definitely with the number of atoms together to form a union. For example, think about this is a metallic atom. It has another 5 atoms and another few atoms get together to donate this single electron to every atoms. Every atoms share their single electrons with each other. Then that electrons can go everywhere in this area where these all atoms are exist. Therefore, this may have free electrons and therefore it shows some special properties for metals. This is the next type of chemical bond. Let's consider some special features of these ionic, covalent and metallic bonds. Especially metallic bonds are formed with metal and metal atoms, and covalent bonds mostly form with non-metal interactions, and ionic bonds are formed with non-metal and metal. Those are the special feature in these three type of bonds. Therefore, in this ionic bond, high electronegative atoms with low electronegative atoms together to form this ionic bond. Therefore, the electronegativity difference is very high in two atoms of ionic bond. And covalent bond, that is high electronegative atoms. If both atoms are same, electronegativity is 0 and they may have a low value of electronegativity difference. And in metals also same, normally they are form low electronegative atoms and electronegativity difference is very low. If the metallic bonds are pure to single metal, electronegativity difference is 0. Therefore, that is the pattern of this ionic, covalent and metallic bonds can appear. These are the examples of ionic, covalent and metallic bonds. You can refer different kind of examples for these ionic, covalent and metallic bonds. Now let's study some special features of these type of bonds individually. As we learned in our previous slide, we know that ionic bonds can form between metal and non-metals. Metal contains loosely bound electrons in their valence orbitals and it can remove to form positive charge ion, and then these removed electrons can by attract by non-metallic compounds, and then it will become negatively charged particle. Then these two ions can bond together using electrostatic force. These bonds we call ionic bonds. Let's study about these ionic bonds and their examples. One example is sodium plus, potassium plus, magnesium 2 plus, calcium 2 plus, and aluminum 3 plus. Like metallic ions can be considered as the positive charge ions. And it also contains NH4 plus, like multi-atomic ions also. This is one example for multi-atomic ions for positive charge. These are not considered metallic ion. It may be non-metal. Nitrogen, hydrogen, both are non-metal, but combined together to form this multi-atomic ion become positive charge. Let's take example for negative charge ions. Fluoride, chloride, bromide, oxides, and next sulfate 2 minus and phosphate 3 minus, like multi-atomic ions can also be formed. These are the example for negative charge ions. Then these negative charge ions and positive charge ions can be bond together using electrostatic force to form ionic bonds. Lattice energy is very important component in the ionic lattice. This lattice energy depends on the charge of that ions and the distance between two ions. That means the distance between two nuclei in this kind of atomic arrangement of ionic lattice. This is the equation of this lattice energy. Please refer this lattice energy equation and get understand about this lattice energy. This table shows the lattice energy of different kind of ionic compounds, and you can take good idea about lattice energy and the relationship between their charges and the distance between two atoms. Please refer this table and study more about this lattice energy in the ionic lattice. Type of bonds are covalent bond. Usually non-metal and non-metal compounds are formed together to form covalent bonds. Let's consider two chlorine atoms. Here the dark color electrons represent their valence electrons and light color electrons shows as the co-electrons. Therefore, you can understand these valence electrons are involving the covalent bond formation. For a single covalent bond, they may share two electrons together with two atoms. These two electrons share among these two chlorine atoms to form a covalent bond. Again, I will mention these atoms share two electrons per one bond to form a covalent bond, and the electrons that can be shared are the valence electron. In every bonds as well as in the covalent bonds may have attraction between different charges and repulsion between similar charges. That means attraction between electrons and nuclei can be exist. Repulsion between electron and electrons or nuclei and nuclei can be exist. Therefore, there's a area that electrons can exist among these nuclei in the covalent bond. This distribution image at the bottom shows the distribution of electrons around the positive charge nuclei. Now let's study about polar covalent bonds. What is a polar covalent bond? Think about, if the both atoms are same, then the attractions are same in nuclei in the both atoms. Therefore, it may have similar symmetric distribution of these electrons around these two atoms as we shown in our previous example. Therefore, we call that as non-polar compound. However, if atoms are different, that means one atom is chlorine and other one is fluorine. That kind of example. If these atoms are different, they may have different attractions of nuclei because both don't have same electronegativity. That means different electronegativity can be exist if the two atoms are different. Let's consider this example. That means in the left hand side atom have higher electronegativity than the right hand side atom. Then this electrons can attract towards more electronegative atom. Therefore, these electrons are attract towards the left hand side where the electronegative atom exists. Let's consider this. These electrons are more towards this left hand side. This is the image of this kind of example, and this kind of bond we call polar covalent bonds. Therefore, to form a polar covalent bond, there should have different atoms, and this covalent bond should be formed between different electronegative atoms. The electronegativity change of these two atoms will affect to the polarity of this bond. If the higher electronegative difference, this polar covalent bond has higher polarity, and if the electronegativity difference is very low, that means low polarity can be observed in this polar covalent bond. Now let's consider some examples of polar covalent bonds. This is the fluorine molecule. It is non-polar compound because both atoms are fluorine and it has same electronegativity. However, if you consider the hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen has low electronegativity and fluorine has high electronegativity. Therefore, the electronegativity difference between hydrogen and fluoride are very high. Therefore, fluorine falls harder on the shared electrons than hydrogen does. Therefore, the fluorine N has more electron density than the hydrogen N. Therefore, it may form negative charge in fluorine atom side and positive charge in the hydrogen atom side. But I put this as positive delta and negative delta. That because electrons are not totally goes to hydrogen atom or fluorine atom. It is partially moves from hydrogen atoms towards the fluorine atom. Therefore, we call plus delta and minus delta. Here, this kind of symmetric electronic configuration we call non-polar covalent, and this kind of polar part we call polar covalent bonds. This is totally different than ionic bonds. This is lithium fluoride. It has negative and positive charge. That is not positive delta and negative delta, because this totally electron from lithium goes to fluoride to become negatively charged. That is why we call this as ionic. However, this polar covalent bonds shows some ionic properties than covalent properties. Therefore, if the electronegativity difference is very high, that means they can show some ionic properties. And if the electronegativity is very low, then it goes to covalent properties. Now let's consider some quantitative value for this polar covalent bond about the polarity. So this polar covalent bond can appear a dipole. Dipole means two poles. One is negative, another one is positive. Two poles, two ends, we call a dipole. Therefore, every polar covalent bond has a dipole. Let's consider this dipole. One side is negative charge and other side is positive charge. Let's think these two atoms contains Q negative charge and Q positive charge and separated by the distance R. Then the dipole moment, if you consider as mu, this is equal to QR. This quantitative value is the represent of the polar covalent bond. How this polarity is in this polar covalent bond can represent by this dipole moment value, and it measure in dBi, and this value of two separate atoms using a covalent bond shows how this polarity of this bond. If it is higher, that means high polar bond, and if it is low mu value, that is low polar bond. This is for polar covalent bond. In this table, this is an example of dipole moment of different hydrogen halides. The highest dipole moment observed in hydrogen fluoride and the lowest dipole moment observed hydrogen iodide, because when you go down in the group of a periodic table, the electronegativity will decrease. Therefore, electronegativity difference between hydrogen and that atom is low, means dipole moment is low. That is why the hydrogen iodide has lower dipole moment than the hydrogen fluoride. Therefore, the electronegativity between two atoms are high. That means they can have high dipole moment. And also, the distance between two atoms are also depend on these two dipole moment. When we apply this dipole moment to molecules, sometimes if the symmetric molecules does not show any dipole moment, because if already contains polar covalent bonds, but the total molecule is symmetric, then they did not show the overall dipole moment for this molecule. For example, this carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide. This carbon monoxide has dipole moment between carbon and oxygen because they have different electronegativity. Therefore, carbon monoxide has a dipole moment. However, this carbon dioxide contains dipole moment between carbon and oxygen bonds. However, these two bonds are similarly distributed to 180 degrees. Therefore, overall dipole moment is 0 due to the symmetric structure of this carbon dioxide. Therefore, carbon dioxide can be considered as non-polar molecule. However, they have polar covalent bonds. In our previous slide, we know that metallic bonds are formed by the donating electrons of number of metallic atoms together to form new union. Then these electrons donated by every single atoms can be participate in this metallic bond. Then these electrons can freely move around every atoms in this metallic bond. Therefore, this is like a electronic reservoir, and in this reservoir there are positively charged particles are dipped. So therefore, this freely movable electrons around this every area of this metallic bond can show us different properties, and they are unique properties to metal. Metallic compound shows the specific properties due to these metallic bonds. Please refer these properties and learn more about metallic bonds and their properties of metals and how this metallic property depends due to the metallic bonds. Next, I focused on some special feature of these three type of bonds can form in macro scale world. In ionic bonds, normally form ionic lattice, that means huge particles, or it can have some separate ions, they are individually exist, that means very tiny particles. In the covalent bonds, they also have large lattice, for example diamond and graphite or silica. They have covalent bonds and form a large lattice. However, the most covalent bond form in gas, and they have very small molecules. That means they are formed between 2, 3 or very small number of atoms. Therefore, that molecules are very small and they are exist in separately. However, in metallic bonds always form large lattice. That means they are in huge particles. Therefore, it is appear in the macro scale world. When we consider the separate ions in this ionic bond form and these small molecules, we want to consider the attraction between these molecules and ions. We call this as intermolecular attractions. This intermolecular attraction will effect to form some compounds in this macro world. Let's study about these intermolecular interactions, and I remind you that again these ionic compounds can exist in separate plus or minus ions, and covalent bonds can have small molecules, which is sometimes it may have polar covalent or it may be non-polar covalent. In these polar covalent compounds have positive and negative ends. However, non-polar compounds don't have this kind of polarity. But when some electron source close towards this non-polar compound, it can induce, and we call this induced polar part can be generated. That means it has positive and negative end again in this induced polar. So let's consider this ionic and polar compound combined together to form this kind of bonds. We call this kind of bonds as ion dipole compounds. Therefore, these ion dipole interactions are exist. Next type of interactions are dipole-dipole interactions. These dipole-dipole interactions are formed between polar compounds. And next one, between polar compounds and non-polar compounds, we call there are forces between dipole and induced dipole. Therefore, we call this bond as dipole-induced dipole attractions. And next type of attractions are formed only using non-polar compounds. We call this attraction as induced dipole attractions, or we can say these are London forces. These are the very weak forces exist in the intermolecular interactions. These all attractions we call the van der Waals attractions because they are not exist in consider as a covalent, ionic or metallic part. These intermolecular attractions can be effect to form their large scale materials. Some examples of these intermolecular interactions. First, let's consider the ion dipole interaction. The most common example of this ion dipole is when you dissolve table salt, sodium chloride in water. When you dissolve this sodium chloride in water, this water molecule can bind with the sodium plus ion or Cl minus ion as shown in this image. That is the interaction between ion and this water molecule is dipole compound. This is a polar compound, therefore it has a dipole. Therefore, this attraction between water molecules and this sodium plus ion or Cl minus ion we call ion dipole interaction. Please refer another examples for ion dipole for your understanding. Next example is dipole-dipole interaction. Let's consider these water molecules has dipole. Therefore, these molecules has negative end and also positive end. Therefore, this attraction between these kind of positive ends and negative ends of this dipole we call dipole-dipole attractions. There are special dipole-dipole attractions we call hydrogen bond. This hydrogen bond, if the dipole, hydrogen fluoride, hydrogen oxide, hydrogen and nitrogen. These three type of dipole exist in this dipole-dipole attractions. We call these bonds as hydrogen bonds because those are the highest strength dipole-dipole attractions. However, we are not mentioned as hydrogen bond for other dipole-dipole attractions. For example, when you dissolve HCl in water, there may not form hydrogen bond between HCl and water molecules. Next type of attractions are dipole-induced dipole attractions. Let's consider when you dissolve iodine in water. When you add iodine molecules into water, as you know, this iodine has iodine and iodine atoms. That means there's a non-polar molecule. Therefore, there has no dipole, and that is not the polar compound. That is non-polar compound. However, when this negative end of water close towards this iodine molecule, it can induce, and this induced dipole can be formed. Therefore, then this induced dipole contains this negative end and positive end. Therefore, there may have new attraction between these two. These attractions we call dipole induced dipole attractions. Next part is London forces, induced dipole and induced dipole attraction. Let's consider the attraction between two iodine molecules. When one iodine molecule close to other iodine molecule, there also contains some electrons. Therefore, this electron repulsion may effect to induce a dipole that contains now positive and negative ends. Then they may have induced dipole attractions. In chlorine, bromine and oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, that kind of gases also shows this induced dipole attraction. Therefore, those are the examples of these London forces. This is the end of this lesson, and thank you for listening. Please refer other notes and other sources to understand more about this chemical bonding. Thank you for listening.